All right, Bronco Nation, welcome to another episode of Blue Turf Talk with me. I am Chris Van Sickle, and I am super excited to be welcome in today Roger Carreon. How you doing, Roger?
Doing awesome, Chris.
Awesome. Let's start out something simple. How was your off season? Which this is my first spring covering Boise State for the media. You guys don't get much of an off season, do you?
Yeah, so it was a pretty quick turnaround with the Fiesta Bowl being pretty late. We got to go home for bye week and then got back and started getting after it. Winter workouts, about an 8-week program, and then we're into spring ball now. But the season was great.
And how is Jal, New Mexico? You're pretty well known from being from a smaller town. How is that?
It's awesome. I love my hometown. I love my roots, where I came from. That's what kind of made me into the person that I am. And the community is extremely supportive. And they're always have my back. When I had that injury or whether I'm on the field being successful, whatever it may be, they're always being super supportive. But I love my hometown.
And you mentioned the Fiesta Bowl, and I want to go back and touch on that just for a second. I know you guys are focused on the future, but to go back to that, what do you think you'll learn from the Fiesta Bowl experience? Being on such a big stage, what do you think you learned from that?
Chris, I feel like I learned quite a bit. That game really tested us as a team. Playing against an extremely talented team, extremely talented front seven, as an offensive line, getting that experience against guys who are NFL ready at that given moment was awesome, and something that we're extremely grateful for. Is something that we can look back on and watch on, whether it's scheme wise or whether it's technique or just different aspects of the game. We learned a lot from that game, and it's something that we can use moving forward.
And kind of going on to that moving forward, you guys are going to travel to Notre Dame this upcoming season.
Yes.
What do you think you can take from the Fiesta Bowl that will help in that atmosphere?
That Fiesta Bowl, the atmosphere was awesome. Something I've never experienced before. We've played in other live games, but that Fiesta Bowl was just kind of different environment, different feeling in the air. It's going to be like that when we go to Notre Dame. They're known for packing their stadium out and having great environment, and that's something that we've experienced. So it's something that we'll be ready for and we know how to prepare for. And it's a big game, but at the end of the day, it's another game. And it's, every week we go in thinking we're going to win. And so it's something that we're going to prepare to do.
And last season, you came back from a pretty significant injury a lot faster than a lot of people thought you could. Talked about that experience and how hard that process was.
That process was extremely difficult, more so mentally than it was physically. So in that game, my injury was pretty significant. My leg was MCL, fibula, and ankle. And, on the field, I felt zero pain when it happened. It was just a sense of this really just happened because I felt the leg snap right. And so the training staff runs on the field and they're checking out my leg and just what's wrong? What's wrong? Couldn't figure it out. And, they pick up my leg and just feel it kind of wobbly. And I was just laying there in disbelief. Coach D comes on the field and, he hovers over me. And when he started talking to me, I got extremely emotional because it's I'd never experienced anything like that, never been taken out of a game due to injury. And so, in a sense, I didn't want to let my team down. I was I need to be on the field for this team. I love these guys. I work extremely hard to prepare for games like this. So it was extremely emotional. And then the turnaround is pretty quick. Had surgery that following Wednesday. And some of the discussions were hey, there's a possibility of you coming back. There's a possibility of you not even coming back. And in my mind, all I heard was a possibility of coming back. And so that's something that stuck with me. And, whether it was in the weight room, the training room, I gave everything I had. What was required of me was 2 to 3 hours of rehab. And it was no, I'm going to do 6. You lift 3 times a week. It's no, I'm going to do 6 out of 7. And so just kind of, that's kind of what my process was going through that. And having guys like Mason, who had an injury the week prior, and then Sire the following week, we kind of leaned on each other and pushed each other to get back on the field.
And that was going to be my next question, actually, is about Mason Randolph. You play right next to him. He had a significant injury as well. I don't know what you guys are drinking in that offensive line room, but you need to patent it. He came back extremely fast as well. What was that like, having your basically your brother, who you played next to the whole time, there to rehab with you.
It was special. I've always been close to Mace, but going through that together just brought us that much closer. And we had a conversation after we both got hurt, and we looked each other in the eye and said, "Hey, like, we're gonna come back. Like, there's no doubt in our minds. Like, we're gonna push each other, hold each other accountable. And when one of us isn't feeling good that day or doesn't want to do the extra stuff, it's like, no, we're gonna do it." And so, that just brought us closer together. And I have a lot of love for Mason, a lot of respect for Mason. And so, when we got to share that field again together at Oregon State, it was extremely special. I came back the week prior, Wyoming, but for me, it was like, that's special too, just being back on the field. But there was just something about the Oregon State game, like just having us together, knowing that we pushed each other. Like, it was extremely special, extremely emotional, and so something we can look back on and be proud of.
And speaking of that brotherhood, you lose Ben Dooley this offseason, and that's a significant loss. Has there ever been a conversation about moving from right guard to left guard, maybe pair up, quote unquote, with Cage Casey over there?
Me and Cage have kind of joked around about it here and there, but as of right now, sticking at my position. And we have some guys that will step in for Ben. Ben is an extremely talented football player and a great leader on this team, and someone that we all love and respect, and someone that I learned a lot from throughout my career here. But we have some young guys that are going to step up and fill that role and be extremely successful at a high level.
And you said it, Ben Dooley really was, being around the team a little bit, one of the biggest leaders on this team. With him gone now, do you feel more responsibility to step up as a leader?
Absolutely. Like, I'm an older guy in the room now, so that's a responsibility that I'm going to take head on, and something that I've been working for. This last year was trying to grow my voice in that O-line room. It started last year was, rising as a leader, and this year it's like me, Cage, and Mason. Like, this is our O-line room, and it's something that we're take a lot of pride in. And so, I'm extremely excited to step up in that role and just being more vocal and leading by example for these young guys, and kind of showing them how this place, how we roll here, what our culture is, and what the mentality is here. And that's something that I learned from guys like Ben Dooley, Cade Beresford, Roger Carreon, like all those guys in the past, So, yeah.
And a guy like Miles Walker comes in, transfers in from Ohio State, and you hear from Ohio State, and immediately high expectations are made by the fan base. What have you seen so far from Miles?
Miles is a great guy. I love him. I actually had the opportunity to host him when he came on a visit, so I got to know him a little bit there. And then, he ended up committing here, and he's here now. And Miles, I love him. And at the end of the day, like, he's just going to keep working and continue to grow. He had a lot of injuries in the past or whatever, and that's something that he overcame. And so he's here now. And so it's, bringing him along and just kind of showing him the ropes and what this place is about. Yeah.
And that right tackle position, Danielson has said that Hall Schmidt is going to be out possibly all of spring. You've got guys like Dylan Matoyer and then Miles Walker, going back to him, possibly filling in there. How important is it for you to get those reps next to these guys that might be starting?
It's extremely important, because at the end of the day, O-line's all about, having that chemistry. And so just continuing to get reps with those guys and, going through these hard practices in spring ball, and kind of just getting those guys in and rotating in those, it's extremely crucial. So at the end of the day, like, you get to a game, like, you got to have that trust. Like, trust is everything when you're playing O-line. That's something you develop during this time. But, yeah.
It wouldn't be a Boise State interview if we didn't mention Ashton Jeanty. He's off to the NFL, and we wish him nothing but the best. But this running back room is still loaded. How confident are you that this room can pick up right where Jeanty really left off?
I'm extremely confident in our running back room. We got some dudes in there for sure, and the mentality, like, like Sire Gaines. We got Malik in there. We got Breezy Duvar, Dylan Zonakama, like all these guys. We have a younger room, but an older. Like, Malik's a little older, but he's a transfer, so he's still learning the ropes and stuff like that. But he's buying into the process, and those guys hold each other accountable. I'm really looking forward to this next year. Those guys are extremely talented, and I have no doubt in my mind that there's not going to be a drop off there.
And you mentioned the guy that I wanted to bring up, Malik Sherrod, coming from Fresno. We'll forgive him for that. I think he's kind of being overlooked, in my opinion. What have you seen from him so far?
Malik's a workhorse. He's high effort all the time. He's consistent, and he's willing to learn what we do here, and he's buying into the process. And so it's been fun to watch him do those things, and I'm extremely excited for him. I don't think he gets enough credit for the things that he does, but people will see this next year, what he brings to the table, and I'm excited for him.
Dirk Cutter steps away. He's back to the driving range, although he has been at every practice I've been to so far. He can't stay away. And Nate Potter comes in. Talk to the fans that are curious. How different or the same, really, is this offense going to look going into next season?
When you switch guys, there's going to be some change, right? But for the most part, like what we do here, like our roots is we're going to run the ball. There is some changes in the offense, but it's not significant. So it's not really a worry. And, I'm extremely excited for Coach Potter taking over that role. He's awesome. I have a lot of love for Coach Potter. And he's, taking this thing head on. And I'm just excited for what we can do as an offense this next year.
Nate Potter's a former offensive lineman. I can't think of a lot of offensive coordinators that were former offensive linemen. Do you think that mindset kind of helps him understand what you guys want, or what your strengths are? I guess is a better way to put it.
Absolutely, Coach Potter's an extremely intelligent coach, and he was able to be under Cutter, so he learned a lot of things from Coach Cutter, and he's been, he played here, and so he knows what this place is about, and that culture, that mentality here, and so Coach Potter, I think he's going to do a great job, and I'm excited for this next year, and I'm fully embracing him, and this team has fully embraced him, and we're excited.
Just a couple more questions. I really want to thank you again for taking your time. You guys are off for spring break as of right now, I believe. So you're taking your own time out here. Last football question, at least. Dirk Cutter flat out said last season you guys weren't a good screen team. What can you guys do as an offensive lineman to make make yourself a better screen team, really?
I can tell you right now that's an emphasis of ours. It's something we've been working on in the offseason. And so that's something that we're looking to add to our offense this next year is, being excellent in that in screens, right? And so, we're working at it, and it's something that we will get better at.
Final question, nice and easy for you. What are your spring break plans?
So I plan on going home this Saturday. I'll fly home to Jowl and spend a week out there with my family and just gonna hang out with family, friends. I haven't been back home in a while, so I'm excited to see everybody. I've had family come out and see my grandparents' mom. But as far as like my extended family, like I haven't seen them in a while, so that's something I really want to do. Just go kind of have some downtime, spend time with family, see friends. I'm excited to go and do that.
I've never been to New Mexico. I'm an Idaho boy. Is it gonna be warmer? You gonna get a little sun maybe, or is it? What's it gonna be like?
For sure, it's gonna be warmer.
Okay.
Where I grew up, it's the desert. It's extremely hot there. Okay. Summers, it stays in the 110s, gets up to 120. It gets pretty warm back home. So I think right now it's probably about 70 back home. Nice. So the weather's probably pretty sweet. The weather's gonna be sweet.
All right, Roger. Thank you so much for taking your time. Have a great spring break, and as always, go Broncos.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm